Venezuela was my 10th country in South America, and I had two main bucket list items, Angel Falls and Mount Roraima. The journey to Angel Falls went like this. Firstly, after many hours in the car across the country, I took a propeller plane to a mini resort-like lodge in Canaima. Then, I took this bare bones boat ride for 5 hours. My butt hurt and my phone was destroyed when we went over some rapids and got soaked. Hence, I lost many of my photos and footage. After a night on a hammock and a short hike, I made it to the bottom of the world's tallest waterfall. Of course, I had to take a dip. It was quite a surreal feeling because at that time, Venezuela's crisis has just started and it was considered dangerous to visit. People were leaving the country and telling me not to go. So, to make it to this iconic waterfall was a pretty cool feeling. But this was nothing compared to my next adventure, a 6-day trek to Mount Roraima. Roraima is the tabletop mountain that inspired the one in the Pixar animation, Up. It brought me across the Grand Sabana, the savanna ecoregion of Venezuela. Lots of sun, rain, river crossings, and steep uphill climbs. Unlike most mountains, the summit wasn't the end, it was part 2. It was like stepping into another world with a whole new place to explore. Roraima is 2.3 billion years old, so bacteria had grown over everything, making the rocks slippery. There were puddles everywhere and the only way to navigate is by jumping from rock to rock. And the rock formations were out of this world. There were these natural pools that people treated like jacuzzi. And there were even waterfalls. Yes, waterfalls on top of a mountain. The flora and fauna are endemic to this place and it even has its own microclimate, being at 2,800 meters high. The top of Roraima is so otherworldly that it inspired the book The Lost World. In fact, it was like a maze up here and we got lost, literally. Our guide, being a city girl from the capital, lost the way. We sat under an overhanging cliff like this for a few hours while she went to look for help. Then, it started raining heavily and she got lost again. We were thinking of sleeping here for the night until our indigenous porter came to look for us. Oh yes, it was New Year's Eve and that was how my groupmates and I counted down to the new year. Wet clothes, but happy spirits. Due to the crisis in Venezuela, this was how we paid our porters. Probably just a few $100 here. After my awesome time in Venezuela, I did a speed run through my last few countries in South America. In Guyana, I took a charter flight to see the majestic Caichio Falls. This is the largest single-drop waterfall in the world. I couch-surfed in Guyana and had to wait a week until there were enough people for the flight. Then, I crossed the border to Suriname. I did nothing epic here, just wandering around the capital, Paramaribo. My final country was French Guiana, although some would say it technically isn't a country. The highlight was visiting the Guiana Space Center. This country was so expensive I couch-surfed in one city and slept on a hammock in another. Special mention to Paraguay. I spent just a few days in this country a few months before and visited the UNESCO-listed Trinidad Jesuit ruins. Finally, I also couch-surfed in this country. It's interesting how I couch-surfed in many of the countries I spent the least time in. At least I got to meet some locals and got to know the culture. That's what I tell myself. Thanks for watching my South America series. If you haven't seen my previous videos, click on this playlist to check them out.